Yali Madat and welcome to 100 Days of Ismaili TV. I mean, wow, how incredible is that? I would like to take this opportunity to really acknowledge and thank all the teams involved in creating this space for us all to really stay connected through lockdown. So, in commemoration of 100 Days of Ismaili TV, we are going to create this wonderful cake, and I'm going to show you exactly how. This is a delicious marble vanilla cake, and I will be using the color of our Diamond Jubilee logo. The ingredients we will need are 200 grams of butter, 4 eggs, 200 grams of self-raising flour, 200 grams of caster sugar. I have 2 tablespoons of rapeseed oil. I have turquoise dye, food coloring, and vanilla essence. I have a mixing bowl, a whisk, a spatula, and just on the side I have a 9-inch baking tin. To start off with, so we're going to throw in the caster sugar, all of it. Usually I soften the butter up first, but then it sticks to the edges of the bowl, so I'm just going to start off with the sugar and then spoon in the butter. It's softened and it's easier to whisk once it's softened. So if your butter's quite hard, you can stick it in the microwave and just soften it up. So I'll get that in. Just gonna fold that in slightly before I whip out the whisk. You really want to blend it. Keep folding it in. It makes the whisking part a lot easier. Right, so it's getting quite fluffy now. Exactly how I want it to be. And I've just realized the toothpicks have just stuck onto my spoon. So I'm just gonna pull them out. I need these for later. Right, here we go. So I'm just gonna pulse this so it doesn't slip everywhere. Right here. So this is really light and fluffy now. Next come the eggs. Now, I'm just going to give them a little bit of a mix in the bowl here, just to break up the yolk. I'm just going to pour it straight in. There we go. And again, I'm going to pulse it just to start off with. And it's just mixed in slightly. I'm going to pour in around about a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now I'm just going to use the cap of the vanilla essence to measure. Saves me a spoon to wash. So it's around about a cup and a half of this. There we go. And we really want to blend it well, so we'll keep going with the whisk. Okay. So the more you whisk it, the more air gets into it, the higher the cake will rise, the fluffier it will be, the lighter it will be. So we really want to give it a good whisk. Now that the vanilla essence is in, I'm going to pour in some of the rapeseed oil. That's 2 tablespoons. And give it another whisk. Now comes the sifted flour. I'm going to do this in small amounts just because flour will get everywhere otherwise. So I've put in about 1/4 of the mixture. And I'm going to keep doing that till I've used up all the flour. Now, if you noticed earlier, it did actually flick up onto me, so I'm just going to use the end of the whisk just to blend it into the mixture before I start pulsing it. Okay, here we go. It's looking very creamy now. A little bit of flour to go. There we go. Again, I'm just going to blend it in with the end of the whisk. And then pulse it through. Here we go. So that's looking really nice and creamy now. I'm going to use the spatula and just collect everything from the edges, all the mixture from the edges, the flour that hasn't quite mixed in, and just blend all of that right in. Here we go. The more we whisk, the more we fold, the more air that gets into the mixture, the better it will rise. And we're really looking for that light, fluffy cake that's really nice and moist to bite into. So we're nearly there actually. So to get the marble effect, we're going to take some of this out into a separate bowl. So I'll use one of these bowls I've already used before. So it doesn't matter how much you separate. The mixture I'm putting into this bowl is going to be the turquoise colour. So I probably have around about 8 tablespoons worth, maybe 10 tablespoons worth of the mixture in a separate bowl. Now, the rest of this I can put into my actual baking tray, so I'm just going to grab that right here. And in one smooth motion, I'm going to get as much of this into this baking tray. There we go. And using a spatula, you can just scrape out the rest. There we go. It's looking pretty good. And I'm just gonna shake this tin just to make sure the mixture's gone all the way to the edges of the tin. Now I'm just going to leave this on the side here and tell you exactly what I'm doing with the mixture we separated. So I have got a dye in here, a food dye, food colouring, and it's turquoise in colour. I dipped this toothpick in and it looks very, very dark, but trust me, this is going to be the perfect colour that we're looking for. And I'm going to work with it in very, very small amounts. So just the tip of this spoon I've dipped into the food dye, and I'm just going to mix that straight in. So you can see it's already turning quite a nice colour. And I only needed that very, very small amount, and you can see it really is mixing pretty well. Don't think I actually need any more. Look at that. Just the colour I'm looking for. Now, the way to pour this in, just to have a really nice swirl marble effect, is you want to pour it in that way. So here we go. It'll come out in gloops, and that's okay. You can see it folding through, but I'm just moving the mixture around in a circular motion, using a spoon just to help it out. Just to make sure I grab the rest of it. Don't want to waste any of it. There we go. Right. So, I'm just going to show you this. So we've got the plain mixture at the bottom. I've just swirled in the mixture with the dye. Don't think I can tip this without having it be tipped out. But the trick I'm going to show you is to get the really nice marble effect. You want to get a knife and just pull through the mixture. So you're just pulling through, turn the knife, pull through again, and keep turning the knife. And once you've done it horizontally, you now want to go vertically, and you get a really, really nice swirl effect. And you can do this however you like, go in diagonals, keep moving it around. And as you do it, the turquoise blue mixture that you have will really settle down nicely into the rest of the mixture. My fan oven has been preheated at 160 degrees. That's exactly where you want it to be. And I will be right back. I'm just gonna put this in, and then we can work on creating all these decorations. So I'll see you in just a tick. The cake is now in the middle shelf of the oven, and I've popped a timer on for 45 minutes. So I'm going to check in 45 minutes time with the knife, sticking the knife straight into the middle, just to see if it's still moist inside or if it's dry when the knife comes out. We really want it to be dry, so then we know all the moisture has been picked up and cooked. So while that's happening, I'm going to show you how to create this piece, all the decorative features on it. So just so you can see, we have a couch with some cushions of our Ismaili colours. We have a remote control, we have the TV, we have a rug, we have a cup of chai, of course, can't do without that, and a plate of naan katai. So we're gonna make all of that, including the lettering here. So I have printed this out on paper, and I have a couple of toothpicks. I will need some masking tape, which I'll grab in just a second, but essentially we're gonna wrap this around the toothpicks and stick them in. I've got a chopping board here, and I've wrapped it in cling film. The reason I've done that is because icing can be quite sticky, and it will stick to all surfaces, so it's quite easy to pick it off with cling film. So I've just wrapped cling film around the chopping board, and I will use that as my worktop, as my base. I have various different colours of icing, and you can use any colour you like. I have a small flat rolling pin. Now this is a little bit nicer than a vellum we use to roll roti or rotli. Just because this is the same width throughout, it helps to keep that balance on the icing throughout. I have some icing cutters. the alphabet and some numbers, and that's how I create this lettering. I have some turquoise crystals, edible crystals, and this utensil. So there are various pieces you can get in the baking department, and you can see it's kind of a star shape here, so you can imprint this into the icing where we need it to. Doesn't matter if you don't have any of this, we can freestyle it. And corn flour. I know this is upside down, it's already opened and I don't want to flip it back the right way up. Corn flour is great to powder the surface that you're working on. Whenever I've used icing sugar in the past, the icing actually becomes a bit more sticky and dry. I'm using corn flour, it stops it from sticking to the surface and keeps it easy to peel off. So I will be using that just to dust my surface. So we can do this when the cake comes out and we're ready to ping it in, so I'll leave it here on the side. We can start off with making a cup of chai. So white icing and you can, if your mugs are of various colors, you can use any color you like. I am going to use white for the mug and the saucer. Right here. But I only need a little bit. You can make as many mugs as you like, many cups as you like. And essentially, I'm going to make it into a little bit of a cylinder. This one's a little bit dry, so I'm just going to keep squeezing it just to mix it all in and get it softened up. Roll it into a ball and sort of flatten it in between my palms so it becomes a little bit of a cylinder. I want it to be quite fat so I can make a dip into the middle where the chai will be. Now, I'm actually going to use the end of this just to poke in the hole. I'm going to twist it around and just really build that mug around the tip of that. I can twist that around. Once I pull it out, I have a nice little indent on the inside. And that will do. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'll now take another piece to make the saucer. And again, you only need a small amount. The sauce is quite flat. So I'm just going to soften that up again. Just roll it in between my palms. And the heat from your hands will also help it get softer as well if it's too hard or dry. Now I've just got a ball of this white icing, and I'm literally just going to use my fingers to flatten it in my hand. In between my fingers. And of course I'm going to try and keep it as circular as I can, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So not perfectly round, but it's nice and flat. That'll do. I think my mug's a bit bigger than my saucer, but I don't mind that. It means I get more chai. And now I need a handle for the cup. So again, just softening the icing, rolling it in my palm. I'm going to make I'm just going to roll it into a long piece. Then I can fold it over to make a handle. So looks small over here, but it's just a thin, long piece. And I'm just going to, bit fiddly, but I'm just going to roll it around to make a handle. And you can just use the ends of your fingers or even your nail, just to pinch it into the icing so it stays. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. We have a mug with a handle here and a saucer. So that can go there. It's coming off, so I'll just get that back on again. Okay. You can also get edible glue. So sometimes it's easier just to use edible glue and stick it on. I'll see if this can do the trick for me. And then once you've molded icing, it dries out quite quickly. So once it's in a position, it won't take more than a few minutes for it to dry up and stay in its position. And there we go. Just gonna make that a little bit bigger. Mug with a handle on the saucer. And I have this golden brown color. I'm going to take the smallest piece. You can't even, it's small, you can't even see it on the camera. It's between my fingers. I'm just going to soften it up again between my fingers. It's a very, very tiny amount. Actually, probably need a little bit less. So just a very, very small amount, and I'm just going to throw this into the cup and flatten it out. So here we have a cup of chai. So I'm just going to leave that there to set, and I'll leave it on the side. So when the cake comes out and we've iced the cake, we can pop this on top. So chai is done. Now I need the naan katai. So I've used a white plate again. Again, feel free to use any color you like. I'm going to take a small amount of the white, softening the icing. Just using my fingers, my palm, the heat from my hands, just to really soften that up. If it's getting too sticky, you can use a little bit of the corn flour. Here we go. So that's molding quite nicely now. It's softened up enough. And again, we just want a flat piece. So this one's getting a bit sticky now, so I'll use a little bit of corn flour. In fact, I might just dab some onto there. There we go, that's better. So if it begins to stick to your hands and your fingers, just because your hands are quite warm and it's softening quite nicely, just use a little bit of corn flour. There we go. Make the plate as big as you want, depends how many biscuits and naan katais you want. There we go. And we're going to use the same golden brown colour. Very small amount, roll it into the palm of your hand, and you literally just want to press it down into a biscuit shape, and that's enough. And we know our naan katai usually has a red dot in the middle, so in fact I was going to use pink, but I have red right here. I've taken a very small piece out, but I really need much less than this. So I'm just going to soften this out and pinch the smallest amount off. Get my naan katai, stick it into the middle and press it down. There we go. So we have one here, and we're going to keep making a few of these. Feel free to make cookies, use different colors, party rings, tepla, anything you want with your chai. Ooh. Dropped that one, so let me get another piece. And you can make as many as you like. We've got 45 minutes and cake cooling time before we can put this on, so we've got plenty of time to make this. So here we go. So I've made it into a ball. I've got a little bit of the red and I'm pressing it down onto the naan katai. And we're gonna make a few of these. You can make them as big or as small as you want. I know my cousins like putting Smarties into their biscuits, so feel free to go wild with the colours. So I've got the brown into a very small ball, putting a bit of red onto it and flattening them both down. Nice, quick and easy. You can dress them onto your plate. And we're really working with small pieces of icing, so you might find that it's a bit fiddly, but it'll be all worth it in the end. I'm just going to make one more for now. And then move on to the remote control, I think. Just soften that a bit more. If your icing's getting too dry, it will begin to crumble in your hand, so you need a bit more heat. You just need to keep molding it, keep kneading it until it's soft enough that it begins to stick together. In fact, I have a little piece here. There we go. So we have our chai, we have our naan katai. We're going to make the remote control now. So you want a good chunk of black. Now, we all have different kinds of remote controls, so feel free to go wild with this. I know the Sky remotes and I think the Virgin remotes are curved underneath, so you can do that. The remote I have is the classic rectangular one, so I'm going to show you how to make that one. So I've just softened out to the black piece. I've rolled it into the palm of my hand just to make sure it's nice and smooth. And now I'm just going to use my finger and my thumb from both hands and just flatten it out, so you're making a cuboid essentially. So you're making it rectangular, you want some straight edges. The sides will be straight doing this, so we have to work on flattening that out at the end and on this side. You want to keep working on getting that rectangular shape. Now it will feel quite soft at first, and that's okay. As the icing dries out, it will become harder. So while it's soft, we can keep molding it into the shape you want. So here we go. So we've got a nice rectangle here. It's not perfect, it's got some rounded edges, that's okay. So that's there, you can see. And now the buttons. So I've used white for most of the buttons. A lot of remote controls do have colored buttons as well, so I have used a few of them. Power button is usually red. What I'm going to do is just use a pink because that's out already. Again, the smallest amount you need. Soften it in your hands. Knead it, roll it around. And considering the size of the remote, maybe just check, is that button too big? Is it too small? Do I need to adjust it? So I do in my case. I'm going to give that a bit of a roll and then stick it on top. So that's the power button right at the top that I've got right here. The rest of them are going to be white. There will be a blue and a yellow button as well. But I'll make a few of these. blue. And get the smallest amount out. And we're going to have a blue button. And a yellow button. Have a look. Wraps this up pretty well, as you can tell. A bit too well, maybe. Have a look. There we go. A very small amount again. And here we have our remote control. We'll add it to our collection. So, this rug we'll do right at the end because it's quite thin, it dries out very quickly, and we should really do it as the cake is finishing and we're putting it straight on. So we're going to go onto the rug and then the couch. So I've done a yellow rug in this case just to add a pop of colour. Right. So softening this up again, just in between the palms of my hands, I'm giving it a good roll. And for this, we need to make sure we've got a dusted surface. And the rolling pin. And I want it to be long, so I'm not rolling it in various directions. I'm just going to keep it up and down. You can make it quite thin as well if you want. And that's it. I've just rolled it straight up and down a few times. I'm going to use the end of a spoon just to slice it. Probably see it better from here. So I'm just going to slice it using the end of the spoon on the side. Use a knife if you have a knife. So here you can see it's winged out with that texture effect. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect. You can see the texture on both sides. Like some tassels at the end of a rug. So I'm going to pop that here on the side with the rest of our collection. And we're going to do the couch now. So I've run out of the dark brown, so I'm going to use the golden colour. And you probably need about this much of it, most of this strip. So I'm just going to pull it all out. Let's have a look. There we go. Leave that there. It's going to soften it up again. Get it all blended together. Really give it a good knead in your hands. Nice and soft. Right. Now there are several layers to making the couch. So I'm gonna pull off a chunk, around this much. Make a ball in the palm of the hands. Give it a good roll. Now, just like when we molded the remote control, we're going to use a similar technique. So I've got a smooth ball of this dough here. I'm going to flatten it out slightly in the palm of my hands. And what we're going to try and do is create this rectangular piece. So we want it to be flat at the front and the back. So I'm going to use my index finger and my thumb just to give it a flattened effect on both sides. Now this is quite square at the moment, so every time I do this I want to flatten it out from the top as well, and again make the edges straighter again, flatten it out, compress it, and then straighten out the edges. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You can make a one-seater couch, a really big one as well if you prefer. And I'm just using index finger and thumb and just squeezing on all sides really to elongate it, to straighten out the edges, get rid of as much of the curves as possible, and you can even pinch those corners just to make them a bit sharper. There we go. So we have a rectangular piece, bit chunky, but not too much. The edges are kind of curved maybe, but generally speaking, that is exactly what we're looking for. And the next thing I'm going to do is the layer above, which is exactly the same in size except it's thinner. So you want slightly less of your dough. Really soften it out so you can mold it easily. Roll it in between the palms of your hands. Get it nice and smooth. And now you're flattening it out and then using your index finger, your thumb, and keep changing the position just to get the edges straight. You can pinch the corners just to make them sharper. And you just want to tease it longer. You just want to give it a bit of a tug just to make it longer, because you do want it to be thinner, but at the same time you want it to be long enough to sit on top of the original piece that you made. So this looks a bit smaller actually, so I'm going to sit it on top of the original piece and see how much I need to make it bigger. If it's too big, just use a knife and cut it smaller. So I'm just going to stretch this out a little bit more. There we go. In fact, I think I will do it this way. So the length is very much the same, which is what we're looking for. It is a little bit thinner in this respect, and that's okay because we're going to get cushions coming onto it anyway. And the actual height of it is much thinner than your original piece, and that's exactly what you're looking for. So that's your seat. Now we're going to make the sides. Just going to pinch a little bit off again. You can go as creative as you want with your couch. Probably even make recliner couches. So I've got a small little ball that I've molded and softened. Just going to use my 2 fingers just to flatten it out. Now here we do want a little bit of a curve. So I'm just going to flatten it out. The only edge that we want quite flat is the bottom edge. So I'm just going to use my thumb at the bottom of this piece just to make it a bit flatter. Still want it a little bit bigger, so I'm going to keep pressing it down and flattening that. So my armrest is quite thin. You can make it chunkier if you wish. I'm going to leave it at this for now. It's kind of like a semicircle, like a dome. And that's the kind of shape that you're looking for. And that's going to go on one edge. And what you want is exactly the same on the other side. There you go. There we go, 2 armrests, roughly the same size, doesn't have to be perfect. And now we're going to make the back. So the back piece is just as long as the original piece that you made, so we do need this bit to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to roll that. And I'm going to flatten it out again in my palms. Now this, we want it to be long. We want it to be flat at the bottom. We want it to be long. And I'm going to keep the top curved. That's the shape I want. So I'm going to use my fingers and my thumbs just to flatten the bottom. And just I'm tugging slightly outwards just to elongate it. I'm going to keep that top part curved. I'm just going to check that actually it fits, and it's a bit big. So I'm just going to squeeze it down from the sides, just pat it down from the sides and just check that again. So that fits a bit better. Now you can see here, I'm just squeezing the ends of the armrests. I'm just pinching it into the back of the couch. And what we have here so far is this lovely creation. Now we can put as much detail as we want onto this. And I'll show you exactly how and some of the ideas that we can have. Before I go on to that, I'm going to pause right there because the cake is actually ready. So I'm just going to check in on it. So the cake is ready and it's perfectly done. I'm leaving that on a wire rack to cool, and I'm going to carry on showing you these decorations while we're waiting for it to cool down. So we have our couch here and we're going to make some cushions and pillows. So I've used red and green. Feel free to use any colours that you like. What I'm going to do is make quite a large green cushion. So this one's going to be a chunky diamond shaped one. So I'm just going to mold it into a square. Want it a little bit bigger. There we go. I'm going to use the end of this. You have a star in the middle. Ooh. There we go. That's going to sit there. And a little bit of the red, rolling it into a ball, flattening it out, and doing exactly the same. So here you have your couch, your rug, remote control, your naan katai, and your cup of chai ready to go. So I have placed the cake on this tray, put a little bit of buttercream on the edges just to give it a bit more of a taste, and also to make the edge a little bit moist and sticky, so when I roll the blue icing out, it would stay sat well on the cake. I have used Renshaw's Duck Egg Blue colour. They had a bold colour, but it looked too bold to me, so I'm using this nice pastel colour, which I think looks amazing. So vanilla buttercream, you can use chocolate fudge, you can use cream cheese, you can use anything you like. I've used vanilla buttercream, and just rolled out some ready to roll icing and placed it on top. Flattened out at the edges, just made it as neat as I can on the edges, and it's here ready to decorate. Now, what I have also done is got a little bit of white icing. As you can see here, we've got a big rug, the big white rug, and all I've done is rolled the white piece into a ball, used my rolling pin, and just rolled it out. It doesn't need to be perfectly circular. As you can see, I've got some rough edges here, and I'm just going to place it anywhere I like. It doesn't have to sit perfectly over the edge. I like it when it waves a little bit, just makes it look a little bit more natural. So feel free to put in your own creativity into this. So I've got my rug here. What I'm going to do next, just to position the TV, is actually make it. So I've got 2 toothpicks. I have some masking tape. I'm just gonna tear a little bit off now. And if you don't have a printer, you could actually use a photograph. You could draw out your own TV and draw your own images and lines onto it. I've printed out "Welcome to Ismaili TV." A little bit of masking tape, it's quite a lot there actually, so I'm just going to tear that in half. And what I'm going to do is stick the toothpick with half of it underneath, sticking out here, as you can see, right on the edge of the paper. I'm just going to tape it around. It doesn't matter if you can see it on both sides, because we're going to roll it back. So you can see then, it doesn't matter if it's not perfectly straight either, we just need it to stick it into the cake. Same on the other side. So we have it here, and what we're going to do is roll it back. So I'm folding it back. Sometimes it's easier to fold it and crease it so it stays. And I'm going to keep rolling it or folding it back till we get to the edge of the TV. Something like this. Same on the other side. Roll or fold. Maybe get one more in there. And I'm going to crease over that edge just so it stays on both sides. So here we have our Ismaili TV, and I'm going to stick it in right there. Nice big TV here, isn't it? There we go. Now, the couch we've made. You'll notice that it's all sticking together nicely now. They're not falling apart. So I will have that be here. You can put it anywhere you like. A bright yellow rug just in front of the couch there. You can see the sauce is stuck to the mug there as it's dried out. Cup of chai. Plate of naan katai. Remote control for the TV. Have it anywhere you like. What I've also done in this time, the stencils that I've had, I've just rolled out some white icing and cut out 100 days. You can write anything you like. and place it anywhere you want really. I'm putting it here on the cake. Sometimes it's really great to have a large board, so as you can see here we're using the edge of the board for some wording. On this cake I'm just going to leave it all onto here. 100 days. And I'm going to position all of this first. When we want to stick it down, you can get a little brush, make it wet in some water. When you put water on icing, it gets sticky, so you just want to pick up one piece, brush on a bit of water, and then gently press it into the icing, and it will just stick once that dries up. Finally, bit of shimmer, bit of glitter. Always love cake that's got a bit of glam. So I'm just going to take a little bit into a teaspoon, and I'm literally going to pop it on the edge of this cake all the way around. I'll do it on the front here so you can see. Then, for the best part, we're going to cut into the cake and see how that looks. There we go. What I might also do, just to get a bit of glitz and glam on top, just around the white rug, I'm going to put a little bit of shimmer there. You can use as much or as little as you like of this. You can pop some under the TV if you want. Anywhere you like, really. There we go. So here is 100 days of Ismaili TV cake. Should we have a look inside? Here we go. Don't even want to cut it now. Don't know where to go. Move the chai and the naan could tie a little bit. Here we go. Rightio. Let's take a look at this. Check that out. Thank you for watching and celebrating 100 days of the Ismaili TV with me. I can't wait to see your creations. Please do post them and of course tag the Ismaili TV. I would just like to thank this platform for keeping us all united through lockdown. Can't wait to see more. Yali with it.